gentlemen, welcome back to another edition of the Robbie Basel Show. Hope everyone had a fantastic Thanksgiving. Of course, I did, spending time with my family here back at home. Of course, I'm in the office. You will see a couple episodes during the holiday season down here, but only for now you'll see one or two episodes down here. But just a couple of quick announcements before we get going today. We got a lot to talk about today. We're going to preview Premier League games for the middle of the week. We'll do that in the second segment today. We have a ton of F1 news. We'll start with that in a moment because there's some of it, as of right now, is breaking news and Formula One changing news. For one of the stories, we have the NBA and NHL season rolls on, and we'll give a quick couple of notes on college football and who I believe should be in and who should be out of the college football playoff. We'll talk more about the college football playoff as we roll into conference championship weekend on Friday. Hopefully, I remember to talk about that. And if I'm forgetting anything, and we'll give a couple of quick notes on some MLB free agents. But we're going to begin with a couple of thank yous because it's the season of thanks. Thanksgiving just happened. Thank you for everyone who tuned into Ohio State, Michigan. I know I was on the call for that, but Gans and Jacob had a great show, a lot of views, a lot of live viewers. So shout out to all the viewers. We gained a ton of subscribers, for our standards at least. We're still on the road to 100 subscribers before the end of the year. It's the holiday season. If you guys could hit the subscribe button down below, drop a subscription to the channel. It's totally free, and make sure to hit the like button on the videos. It would be greatly appreciated to not just me, but the other guys on the channel. And hopefully there will be more shows to come. Of course, we are a bigger team than the people you've seen so far on this channel. And additionally, more games of the week to come as the holiday season rolls around. That's just a quick note. Official game of the week announcement will be later this week for this weekend. There's a ton of conference championships. We're previewing all of them most of them, I believe, on Friday, or Gans and Jacob are going to talk about. I don't know. But let's roll into the F1 news because we do have some breaking news for you guys. There's two big storylines, but before we go into the storylines, we actually have to talk about the race because I forgot to talk about it last week. We were in Qatar this weekend, and first of all, the race, this is like one of the few times you'll hear me say this, it was a complete mess. It was a mess from the start. A crash in turn one. You already knew it was going to be a mess. There was horrible work by the new director for Formula One. The stewards were not great. Everything essentially went to crap off the jump. And there was a moment where Lando got a 10-second stop and go penalty, which means you have to drive into the pit lane, go into your pit box, stay there for 10 seconds, and go. It's essentially a 35-second penalty, which I thought when you look back at the footage, I can't because we get taken down. This video wouldn't go live. Lando doesn't see it. The yellow flag in the part of the track he was at was so quick you couldn't really see it. And then in the other spot, because on the left-hand side of the track, there are the lights for where if it flashes green, yellow, red, whatever, it shows like SC for safety car, all that stuff. And what was interesting was the light flashed yellow so late, I don't think Lando could have seen it. And then what's great is heading towards turn one, the light was green. It doesn't make any damn sense anymore. And not only that, the freaking wing, because Albon had his wing mirror fell off. That's essentially how I'll put it. The mirror was in the track. They didn't go to remove it. They didn't put a safety car, nothing. The part where the mirror was green, sure. But then you give him a penalty for not seeing the one blinking light for yellow flags that came up so late. How is that possible? It was a complete mess. And because of the safety hazard, not being a safety car to clear the debris, multiple cars had punctures from Sainz to Hamilton. It was a complete and utter shit show. Sorry about that. It was a complete and utter shit show. And that's all I will say on that part. Lando was even surprised he even got a penalty in the first place. And I can't blame the dude. And what's even more remarkable is that Lando's like 20 seconds behind. He goes out and puts up some fastest laps like no one's business. He goes to 15th because everyone was killing each other. 5 cars were out. And what makes it even more comedic, finds a way to get 2 points because he gets 10th, which is the 1 point. I believe he got fastest lap or was in the contention for fastest lap. So there you go. Lando Norris gets 10th. Can't justify it. I can tell you right now, I cannot justify it. But it is absolutely absurd. And that's not even the absurd part yet. The Lando part was absurd. They put the safety car in. George Russell, I think, wants to kill the stewards, which, knowing George, like what he does off the track now, apparently, like, I don't think he would, but he was really frustrated. Hamilton was frustrated. There was a point where like people were even questioning if he was going to race next week, which that did happen to somebody, so we'll talk about him in a moment. But this is where I think this gets really funny. And this came out yesterday. FIA President Mohammed Ben Sulayem has told F1 drivers to mind their business after they get asked where money from race fines were going. What the hell is this? I didn't even know this till yesterday. Well, till like after the race. It's absolute chaos. This brand is turning into a disaster. Like, and then it comes out Norris with penalty for serious compromise of safety. Which hold on for a second here, man. What the hell? Lando Norris penalty for serious compromise of safety when you didn't put a safety car to make it more safe. What the hell is this shit? Like, I know I'm going to get destroyed for this. Like, what the hell is this? Like, well, why? Make it make sense. Okay. He was given a 10-second penalty, the most severe penalty for other than being disqualified. One light. You didn't even see the yellow flags. I can't blame him for that. And you say serious compromise of safety when you didn't even make it safe because there was no safety car to clear the mirror. I don't understand. I don't understand anymore. Even the thing that just fell doesn't make any sense. It ruined the race. It essentially opens the door now for Ferrari to have a chance to win the constructors. They're 21 points behind because there's the team standings and the driver standing. Driver standings is wrapped up for first place. Max Verstappen won already. He also won the race. Shout out, Max. And then what's hilarious is that this morning, I just got to bring this up too. The FIA said the teams have been given guidelines on February 19th of this year, which said such an offense would lead to a stop-go, which, to be honest, the FIA made this look terrible. But I do remember this. We have seen incidents like this before, but it's been 7 years since that. It was Kimi Räikkönen as terms of precedent. Kimi Räikkönen was given the same penalty for a similar incident back in 2017 before I started watching Formula One. But because you're saying compromise of safety, and I'm sorry if I'm going on for a rant about this, because this is stupid. You're talking about compromise of safety. The FIA basically compromised at points the safety of Lewis Hamilton and Carlos Sainz. Because when you don't clear the debris off the track, it could cause damages to the car, making it at points possibly undrivable. There you go. Puncture for both cars, which ruins their races as well, all because we couldn't clear a wing here. Thank God the season ends this week. We're going to Abu Dhabi this week. We'll preview that race in a moment. But what were the breaking news stories? Because I was hyping that up. Then I went on a rant. My apologies, ladies and gentlemen. I usually don't go on rants like this, but if you want me to want me to go on more rants like this, make sure to put it in the comments. Or let me know on Instagram at rbasel_11 or on the Given Five Instagram, both handles in the description. We had more dramatics, by the way, with Max wanting to now hate George. That won't be dramatic for the next couple for this week and beyond. But here are the breaking news stories. And we'll start with Alpine, who we know Alpine's lineup next year is Pierre Gasly and the rookie Jack Doohan, which I like Jack Doohan. I think he'll be a good fit to work with Pierre. Pierre being able to become that number one driver for the team. He's been great in the back end of this season, and Alpine will be after we thought that Alpine was going to be trash. It was underperforming, but it's up to sixth in the constructors, which makes my predictions look horrible because I had Alpine like eighth, and I had Haas 10th, and they're doing great. But back to this to the story. Esteban Ocon was the other driver, and he got to note what he's done for the team. He's gotten them their only win in the last couple of seasons, and as the team called Alpine, they have one win, and it was from Esteban Ocon. He has three podiums and all of the starts for the team. He got sacked this morning, and he'll be replaced by Doohan for the final race. So Ocon can do the post-race testing for Haas, which is where he's going to next year in Abu Dhabi. I don't know why they do their driver like that. Let's see what they wrote on this. Um, so yes, Jack Doohan will make his his F1 debut, as a full-time driver, this coming weekend at Yas Marina. Um, Alpine said they'd rather get those butterflies going now rather than next year in Australia. He's gonna have butterflies in Australia. You don't even need to say that. Ocon won the 2021 Hungarian Grand Prix after like chaos happened. That infamous moment where Lewis was the only one on the starting line. Still hilarious. Um, Leaving early will allow Ocon to test for Haas at Yas Marina the week after the race, with Doohan set to take part for Alpine. Here's what the team statement said. The team would like to thank Esteban for his time at the team, and he will remain part of the team's history, achieving the first win for Alpine in Formula One. We wish Esteban the best for the future. Not giving him a proper goodbye. Now, I've been critical on my podcast for people not getting the proper goodbye. Logan Sargent, Danny Rick, now Ocon. Why? This one kind of makes sense, but it doesn't make sense. Like Ocon, Ocon's comments to the media after the Grand Prix said it was kind of like his farewell, but the team didn't give him a farewell message on the radio. I hate stuff like that. That's a personal thing I've never liked was the drivers not getting the thank yous from the team over the radio. Um, I just haven't been a fan of teams not doing that. You saw that with Logan. You saw that with Danny when he got canned before I think it was before Austin this year, and you saw Logan get canned halfway through the season to be replaced by Colapinto, who's been phenomenal. Maybe he gets a seat. Imagine he gets the Red Bull seat. I would be flipping tables if he gets the Red Bull seat. But now it opens the possibility of who gets us because the Red Bull seat did open. We'll talk about that in a second. But back to this. I think this is dumb, but smart at the same time because you can now have Doohan drive a race and be introduced as a full-time member of the team. He could take part in postseason testing. Ocon can take part in postseason testing with Haas, so he can learn the ropes for the Haas car. And since Ocon's going to be driving that car with Ollie Behrman next year, but I'm just not a fan of it. That's just my personal thing on it. I think it's dumb, but smart. That's where we're going to end on that part. I know I've been talking about F1 for a long time, but one final story. Sergio Perez for Red Bull. I've given him a lot of crap this year, and well, deservingly a lot of crap this year. But since Red Bull can't win the constructors anymore, he's getting canned and will be leaving the team at the end of the is set to leave Red Bull at the end of the week. So the story is Sergio Perez, who's been with Red Bull for a couple of seasons after his stint with like Racing Point, he's been like everywhere at this rate. Um, Christian Horner hinted at Perez's impending exit after the Qatar Grand Prix this weekend. He's gonna, but he says, "I'm going to let Perez come to his own conclusions. Nobody's forcing him one way or another." I don't believe that for a second. I know Christian's a very factual statement. Uh, doesn't really lie to the media. It's not a nice situation for him to obviously be in. Very true. I think I can really agree with Christian here because Perez, who crashed this weekend, he did not finish the race. Horner's 100% right with this because it's not a great situation for him to be in. There's not a lot of seats this next season, if really, if any. So the only situation I think we could be seeing the end of Checo Perez next week rather than next season. It's a very interesting situation because, well, for Perez, yes, it's been a very disappointing year for how much variety we've had with different drivers winning races this season from Max, both Ferraris, both McLarens, both Mercedes drivers. I think we've had 7 different winners this season in a race. Last year, we only had 2. But for the other Red Bull, with how good that car was in the beginning of the year to not win a race for Perez, it's really disappointing. Like last year, I will say this, completely understandable for how many wins Checo had last year. Because he had a couple wins last season. You can't really remove that from him. But they prioritize Max, and it's what you have to do with how good Max is. But at the end of the day, I think this is the right move for Red Bull. They have to get younger. I think they're going to be doing that here with Checo Perez leaving next week. Checo's done some good things for Red Bull. He's gotten a couple of wins. He's done a good amount of things. He was able to help be part of teams that won the constructors. If you go back to 2021, he really helped Max get back into the race in the middle back third of the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix at the end of that season before Max made that infamous dive to take the lead with just a few corners to go, and then he won the 2021 championship, and now he's a four-time consecutive he's a champion for 4 consecutive years. It started a dynasty with Perez backing up Hamilton for the most part. But I think a change was needed. I think they nailed this Red Bull for removing him at the end of the season. Now, who do I think will get the seat? Well, I for one believe it has to be one of the RB guys. You cannot give this to Franco Colapinto because it's going to look hypocritical. I now believe they're going to give it to Yuki. I don't think that's the right answer. I don't believe that is the direction they should go. But I have a feeling that's where they're going to want to go for the sponsorships. That's the excuse they may have Perez made, or like the sources gave to Perez. I think with because of course it's Red Bull Honda or whatever it is, or something like that. I think with where they're at, Red Bull, I would personally give the seat to Lawson, but I don't know now if there's a wrong answer. Unless there's like a solution that no one's brought up yet, which I don't even know what that would even be. because we know it's not Danny Rick. But like at the end of the day, this is like getting out of hand. So with the rumors of Cadillac coming in, which I haven't really been able to talk about that, Cadillac is coming in as an 11th team in 2026. Could that open a door for Perez? Maybe. But I'm really interested to see who gets the seat for next year. My prediction is going to be this is not who I want to have the seat, but who I think will get the seat. I think who I think will get it, who I think will get the seat, will be Yuki Tsunoda. I think it will be Yuki Tsunoda. I don't want it to be Yuki Tsunoda. I have nothing against Yuki. I think Lawson for the future is the more proper solution. Go with the younger guy. Go with a driver. You go with the youth. You have him learn from Max. You know a guy who won't give Max a lot of crap. Um, I think that would be the better move. But I think Red Bull is going to go with Yuki Tsunoda. I don't really see them going Colapinto. I do think there is a path for Lawson. But I guess we'll have to wait and see for that. Um, because it's been pure chaos, and that's what you're hoping for at the end of a season. But with the dramatics of the Red Bull seat opening up, do you? I don't know if we will see a guy from another team go for the seat. I don't know, honestly. Imagine Russell goes to make that more dramatic. That would be chaos. But F1 was absolutely insane. Real quick, we'll go over the Premier League from this week. There was a couple of fun results. Saturday, the big storyline was Arsenal. They went out and won 5-2 against at West Ham again. Last year they blew out West Ham away. Now they blow out West Ham away again. Great result for the team. They needed that. They jump up to, I believe, second in the Premier League. It's a win they needed. They got the job done. The other notable result, how about Crystal Palace drawing Newcastle? It was Daniel Munoz, 94th minute, that went helped them go out and get a point. An own goal from Margate. They originally granted it to Anthony Gordon, but they gave it as an own goal to Gahey. Um, I mean, there were multiple chances. I know Ismail Assar had a great cross into the box that was put away wide by I forgot who's out on the left. But Crystal Palace got a well-deserved point at Selhurst Park. Newcastle continued to just suck on the road. Makes perfect sense at this rate. But Crystal Palace was able to get their well-deserved point and get out of a relegation place for the first time in a while. Good for them. Other results, Bournemouth won 4-2 at the Molineux. Nottingham Forest won at home in a struggle against Ipswich. And Brentford, how about Brentford? They went out and won 4-1 against Leicester on Saturday. Real quick, the Friday game, really disappointing result from Brighton. I have to say it. I was really disappointed with Brighton. They went out and drew Southampton. Southampton are bad. I know Brighton should have won this like 7-0, but not really. The goals were, I know Brighton took the lead early. It was Mitoma again, but Southampton were able to respond. It was Downes, actually. I believe Flynn Downes who scored. But there were chances for both teams. Southampton have only gotten points in now 3 games this season. I think they deserved a point. I thought it was either going to be Brighton like 7-0 or Southampton was going to be a draw. It ended in a draw. I think that's a fair result for Southampton. Really disappointed in Brighton because it's Southampton. Sunday, Tottenham continued to bottle it. They went out after beating Man City a couple weeks ago. They can't even beat Fulham. Fulham who went down to 10 men after tying the game up courtesy of Tom Kearney, who scored and then got sent off like a couple minutes later, which I think is awesome. First half put you to sleep. The second half, Brennan Johnson. How about Brennan Johnson this season? The man from Wales has been killing it for Tottenham this season. I don't know how many goals it is from him for now, but he's been awesome. They also only had 3 shots on goal, Tottenham. That is even more shocking in itself. But Yeah, Tottenham struggled. Fulham, great result for Fulham. They went out and got a point. It's a tough game whenever you go out, you play Tottenham, regardless of where you are. An away win, away result rather, for Fulham, exactly what you could have hoped for. They went out and got their result. Manchester United might be back, but I'm not going to overreact. They went out and beat Everton. It's Everton. Congrats winning 4-0 against Everton. Um, Also, we had Chelsea. How about Chelsea? The Blues, who I've been questioning all season because their logic makes no sense. They went out and beat Aston Villa 3-0. Now we're starting to question Villa, which I don't want to do, but we'll explain why in a second. Uh, Early goals, they scored inside 8 minutes. Nicholas Jackson scored. Then Enzo scored. Cole Palmer goes out and grabs a third. Chelsea get all 3 points against Aston Villa. How big of a result is this for Chelsea? Well, one, they got 3 points at home. That's where you start with. But now they're going to be in the contention for second, third, fourth, because well, one of the teams can't win a match. Liverpool's running away with it now. It will continue to be a battle for the second, third, and fourth spot. And Chelsea will be right there in the mix the whole time. This was the Chelsea we were hoping for last year. But Enzo Maresca has done something to really find all these players to click. Not only that, you've had good performances from Nicholas Jackson, from Cole Palmer continuing to be great. Enzo starting to come into his own. Pedro Neto has been great on the wing. I don't know why people don't give him enough credit when they have Madueke. He's been solid. Jadon Sancho has been okay. They still have Christopher Nkunku, who's killing it in the Conference League. It's Chelsea in a Conference League. They literally beat a team called FC Noah 8-0. So I don't know where you stand with that. Defensively, I love Cucurella when he's healthy. Moises Caicedo at right back is a little bit uncomfortable for me. I don't like that, but it kind of works. Like I said, I don't like it. Please stop putting him at right back. He's a central defensive midfielder. Put him there. Um, I know Martinez left the game. I don't remember what for. He was replaced by Robin Olsen. But Aston Villa got outmatched. That's the best way I could put it. Chelsea 3, Villa 0. And then we go to the late game. What a fall off for Man City. I love this. You know, there's those moments in your life where a team just falls off a cliff and everyone's rejoicing. Sounds like Christmas, honestly. But Christmas has come early for fans of the Premier League as Man City lose again. They went out and lost to Arne Slot's Liverpool, which is making me look like a fool because I had Liverpool in seventh and they're 9 points clear at the top of the Premier League. That's ridiculous. And not only that, Arne Slot has gotten the best out of so many different players, which is exactly what you were hoping for. I love this Liverpool team on paper. They look great. And of course, the headline by Mohamed Salah, who has 11 goals. He's been killing it. But he's gotten a lot of good things out of Luis Diaz, who has 5 goals. The only worry I have for them, they have no one other than Salah who's consistent in goal scoring at all. But I don't know, apologies, how much of an issue that's going to be. Because if you could go out and win a couple games 1 or 2-0, you're fine. Go out and get a result. In the Champions League, they went out and beat Real Madrid. So you can make an argument right now that with the form they're in, with the squad they have, and who they can beat, Liverpool are the best team in Europe right now. I think you can make that argument. Or one of the top 3. They're getting results. They've beaten some of the biggest teams in their respective league, or have gotten results rather against some of the biggest teams in their respective league. You've beaten the best team in the world, Real Madrid. They beat Jude. They beat Mbappe. They beat the Death Star, you can say, of Europe. What's to take them out of the conversation that they're the best team in the world? I don't know. You guys have to tell me. They have one of the best wingers in the world. Who knows if he'll stay next year, though? That's the only worry I have for them is who's staying next year. But look at this team. They have, they don't even have their starting goalkeeper. They have a right back playing center back. They have one of the best wingers in the world. They have a number nine that's playing on that should be playing on the wing. This team is unkillable. They have Kelleher in goal. It's not even Allison. Like Allison didn't even start against the game against Man City. But then again, Man City couldn't score a goal against the two worst center backs on Tottenham. So take that how you will. But Salah has been great. Diaz has been great. Gakpo might be starting to come into his own out on the left. Um, I've loved the play recently from McAllister and Soboslai. I think Soboslai has to pick it up a little bit. Um, Gravenberg, I've loved Gravenberg for a long time, so I think he's doing okay. Um, the only worry I have for Liverpool is the future of the team because we don't know who's staying next year. We don't know if Salah's coming back. We don't know what's the future of VVD and Trent. If this was the year Liverpool were to win the league and then everyone leaves, this is the year. Because with everyone just not wanting to win games in the Prem right now, it's nuts. Wait, I just saw something. Mohamed Salah, Liverpool's win versus Man City will be my last at Anfield. Mohamed, I didn't even see this. Mohamed Salah said Liverpool's 2-0 victory over Man City will be the last time he faces Pep Guardiola's side at Anfield as the uncertainty over his future at the club continues. AKA he's leaving next year. So this is going to get really interesting in the summer, but we'll talk about the summer close to the summer. What other league matches should we be watching out for in the Premier League this week? Because there's a couple of games, and we're going to be focusing more of it all on Wednesday. Wednesday has some of the biggest games of the season. The match I want to highlight are going to be on Peacock. It is Newcastle and Liverpool at Newcastle, by the way, which is like a place where it's impossible to get a result for most away sides. Maybe not for Liverpool, but who knows? What I'll be watching out for is can Liverpool go out and score? I know Newcastle's defense has been really, really solid at St. James's Park for the majority of the last couple of seasons. Can they do that to Liverpool? That's the biggest key for that match. I do have that game resulting in a draw. And then Arsenal against Manchester United. I have Arsenal winning this game. Manchester United they have the energy, they have the momentum from their side, but Arsenal are scoring goals in bunches, and they beat a better team in West Ham United, who have been one of the most disappointing sides in the Premier League this season. I like this matchup for Arsenal, a midweek game against a club that does, I believe, needs some humbling a little bit. That's not coming from me as an Arsenal fan. It's coming from me as an analyst. Manchester United have all this momentum from beating Everton. I don't think they really need to be talking as much as they do. They struggled against Bodo Glimt last week. They went out and struggled for. I gotta give credit to like the Scandinavian leagues a little bit for causing problems. I mean, to be fair, Manchester United couldn't even beat Copenhagen last year, so you gotta give credit to the teams in Denmark and more north. You gotta give them more credit than they deserve. Or give them more credit, not more than they deserve. They deserve some credit. That's what I meant to say. I like this matchup for Arsenal. I don't know who will be on the field for Arsenal. I know they're still struggling with some injuries. Saka's been in great form. I think he scores a brace. Give me a 3-0 win, 3-1 win, Arsenal. City are not going to get lost in the forest. I have them winning. Chelsea are not losing to Southampton. They're not going to do what Brighton did. And Villa Brentford, I think, is going to be really fun at Villa Park. That's the like the underrated game. Only other game I'd watch out for. Watch out for Bournemouth. They've been great in some of these last couple of matches. They're playing Tottenham, and I think they're going to cause Tottenham problems. Give me a 1-0 for Bournemouth. Shout out Bournemouth. I'm done with the soccer. Get me off the screen. Um, Not a lot of other notes for this podcast today. Um, and before we continue, I'm hoping for we just got to bring this up. This is the stuff you just hate to see, and we're praying for the lives of everyone involved. Ghanaian stadium crush kills 56 people after a disputed referee decision. Um, a controversial refereeing decision sparked violence and a crush at a soccer match in Southeast Guinea, killing over 50 people. You hate to see stuff like this, whether it be over a referee decision or something else. This stuff does not belong in football. A stampede in the middle of a match. We pray for the lives of everyone. The lives were lost. The lives lost. We pray for all of them. You just hate to see stuff like that, but that did happen. Um, Fans were throwing stuff like that. It's absurd. But a witness who had attended the match said a disputed red card in the 82nd minute kicked off the violence. You just hate to see stuff like this. But back to more positive things. We talked about chaos. A couple MLB free agency moves happened overnight. Matt Boyd signed with the Cubs because why not? The weird one was the Mets signed Frankie Montas. Now, I, for one, don't like Frankie Montas as a player. I don't think he's that great, but he's kind of the signing the Mets needed for the back end of the rotation. They gave him 2 years, 17 mil a year is a lot for him, but I don't even know what he was going to get regardless. And the Mets, I know, probably wanted multiple years to not have a Manaea situation. The stupid part is they put a player option in there, games to game, I guess. Um, but that's the way it goes. The Mets get Montas. He'll be a back end of the rotation guy. They have to get another starter. I just don't know who it is to pair with whoever the front of the rotation is going to be. With Senga, they have Montas, they have a couple other pieces. I think they have to go out and re-sign Severino or Manaea and then get, or both, and then get another starter. They have to focus on that rotation and re-sign Alonso. That's the main things for me right now. Imagine Roki Sasaki on the Mets. Just saying. Or the Mets sign Juan Soto. Make it even more stupid. Because the Dodgers went out and signed Blake Snell last week, which pissed off everybody, which is fair. It's Blake Snell going to a team that doesn't need more pitching, but game's the game, I guess. Quick notes in the NBA and NHL before we wrap up today's video. Shout out to James Harden for joining Curry as the only players to hit 3,000 3-pointers. I think that's awesome. We know Steph Curry is a great shooter. He's arguably the best shooter of all time from behind the arc. And of course, you have James Harden, who we all remember from his double step back threes and all that nonsense in the late 2010s. He got on that list as well. I think he deserves to be there. Shout out him as well. But what were the games? The NBA Cup rolled on. Let's go over the standings, what's been going on. Philadelphia is terrible. I think we've all addressed that. But the NBA Cup just got a little bit weird. There's a couple of teams that will be squaring off, I believe, soon for a top spot in their group. New York is facing Orlando tied at the top of Group A in the East. Detroit is 3-0 in their group. Now, granted, their group is atrocious, but they're 3-0 in a group. Detroit, of all people. Miami's in third in this group. They're out already because they beat the bad teams and lost to the good teams. Very respectable answer. In Group C, Atlanta clinched already. Boston's not safe at all, which is really weird. But because of head-to-head or something, I don't know. Atlanta is ahead of Boston. In the West, the Rockets are killing it. Shout out the Rockets. They're 3-0 in their group in the NBA Cup. San Antonio, Oklahoma City, and Phoenix are all tied at the top of Group B. That's going to be a really uncomfortable finish over there. And Golden State won their group already, but everyone else can vie for a spot in the playoffs. And the quarterfinals of the NBA Cup coming with one match day to go. That match day is today on Tuesday. So let's go over the Tuesday games. What should you be watching out for in the NBA this week? Knicks Magic, I think it's going to be fantastic. That game's at 7:30 p.m. on TNT. It's going to be a back and forth affair. I'm picking the Knicks to win this game, but I know Orlando can cause a lot of problems. A Magic team that's 15-7. How about the Orlando Magic this season? Even with the injuries they've had, multiple pieces have been able to step up. I brought it up a couple weeks ago. Their lack of scoring might be a problem, but I'm taking the Knicks at home. Other games in the NBA Cup to watch out for, just for the competition. I like Warriors Nuggets. I think that game will be fun. Rockets clinched already. Underrated game. You have the Bucks and the Pistons. Both teams vying for a playoff spot in the NBA Cup. Both of them top of the group, tied at 3-0. Both of them will go for the group win on tonight on the day this goes out. Other games to watch out for this week. There really isn't a lot. Um, Wednesday, there's really nothing. Thursday, Rockets Warriors, but that game's at 10 p.m. And I know a lot of people watch me from the East Coast, so I don't think that game's really watchable. Friday, not a lot either. So the NBA is not the most interesting this week, other than the NBA Cup tonight on Tuesday. So I think that'll be something that everyone should be paying attention to. How about Knicks Magic? I think that game will be really fun. Finally, in the NHL, we'll be heading there next. Um, the biggest stories right now in the NHL. We'll take a look at the standings before we go into the games. Um, how about the recent stretch from Florida? They've won three in a row. They're top of the Atlantic. Boston sacked their coach. Um, and since then, they've been 5-4-1 over the last 10. Tampa remaining in fourth, 1 point behind Boston. Buffalo have been much better than I thought they were going to be, but they have had a 3-game skid last week to drop themselves back into fifth position. Detroit are 1 point behind Buffalo, and then you have Ottawa, who's 1 point behind Detroit, and then Montreal are 3 points behind Ottawa. So the Sens, Montreal, we don't know how competitive they're going to be down the stretch, but right now, very close bottom half of the Atlantic Division. In the Metro, the Islanders suck, apparently. As do Pittsburgh. They are tied on points in seventh and eighth down in the Metro. The real shock team has been Columbus. Um, the Blue Jackets are 8-3-1 at home, which is remarkable for Columbus. Uh, Away, they're atrocious, but we don't want to talk about the road stretch. The problem for some of the teams at the bottom is the lack of goal scoring, particularly with the Islanders. I believe they are last. Yeah, they're last for goals, or second to last for goals for in the conference. Only third, but I forgot. I haven't seen Detroit. The teams that are worse for goal scoring than the Islanders are Boston and Detroit. They're, I believe, what is that? 14th in goals for. They don't allow a lot of goals, which kind of helps them. I believe they're like middle of for points for goals against, but 14th in points for in the East. They just deserve to be where they are. The real shock team, it's Washington. I don't think anyone expected this from Washington this year. They can defend really well. They're one of the few teams, if not the only team with over they're the only team with over 100 goals scored this season already. They've been killing it. They've also won four straight. New Jersey are down in second, 1 point behind Washington, with Carolina 1 point behind New Jersey. So they're all in the hunt for the top of the Metro Division. Another team that's been really bad is the New York Rangers. They've just can't figure it out, I guess. I don't know. They are 13-9-1. They can't really win a ton of games. I know they had a really rough stretch a couple weeks very recently. But I think they're going to be fine. They are 6 points behind Carolina for third in the division. Tied with them, though, uncomfortably, Philadelphia? Yeah, your guess is as good as mine. They have been great recently. They won all 3 games last week to jump themselves to being tied for fourth in the Metro. So the Metro is getting a little chaotic in the midfield and up top where chaos is all over the Atlantic. So that's where that division's at. In the Central, Winnipeg blew it. That's all I'm going to say. They've lost 3 straight. And Minnesota, led by Kaprizov, have been great. They are now top, or tied for top, at the top. Tied at the top of the Central with Winnipeg. Tied on 36 points. Behind them is Dallas and Colorado. They are the current playoff teams, with Utah and St. Louis tied for fifth, 2 points behind Colorado. Colorado have had a really bad season, but they've had injuries and just underachieving. And then you have Nashville, who continue to suck, and Chicago. Out in the Pacific, really tight bottom half of the division again. Vegas leads, then Vancouver. Sorry, Vegas leads, then the Kings, then Vancouver. Um, Shout out the Kings. They've won three straight. Another team on a win streak is Edmonton. They go back to fourth, tied with Calgary. So the battle for Alberta is for the fourth position in the Pacific Division is kicking up. Uh, Anaheim, Seattle, and San Jose are all terrible, but they're all doing better than Nashville and Chicago. Doesn't make any sense. So, what games do we want to watch in hockey this week? I would have said the Monday night game with the Devils and the Rangers, but this video goes out on Tuesday. Um, there's a couple underrated games I know on here. I like the matchup, of course, the Oilers and the Golden Knights. I think that game will be great. But underrated games, where's Washington? Oh, they play the Sharks. Never mind. Sorry, Sharks fans. The game to watch out for this week. I like the impact of Stars against the Kings on Wednesday. That game's gonna have a ton of impact for both of the divisions, in the Central and the Pacific. That's the game I would watch out for. On Thursday, Jets Sabres sounds so much fun. I'm not gonna lie. Columbus is terrible on the road, but they play Edmonton. Battle of the bottom of the Atlantic with the Red Wings and the Sens. Uh, Panthers have been great. Islanders have to grab a win over the Kraken. It's a must-win game for the Isles, who have more points yet less wins. And that's pretty much the games to watch out for most of the week. And then heading into the weekend, you can watch Stars Golden Knights along with Capitals and the Maple Leafs. Some of the good games to watch out for. NFL, we are saving for Friday, and you can watch the other shows to check out the rest of the NFL coverage here on Give 'em 5. It's been a chaotic week. I hope you enjoyed it. I know hope you guys enjoyed your Thanksgiving. Show continues every week, every Tuesday here on Give 'em 5, and make sure to check out Footy Fridays. It will be coming out this week, unless otherwise noted. For now, I'm Robbie Basel saying thank you guys so much for watching the episode. Make sure to hit the like button and subscribe. That's the end of today's episode. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye, everyone.